Hi everyone, welcome back to video 2, and we hope you enjoyed video 1. Hopefully you're encouraged by it. That's kind of our goal here, is not to do anything else but to maybe help others that are in the same situation, and that's what we're doing. So video number 2 is going to step into how we did it a little bit more in detail. We talked a little bit about our overview of where we were, and then we want to, in this video, just talk a little bit about the actual grime and the work that it took to get to where we are today. So we'll step with the first steps. They call them baby steps. If some of you aren't familiar with Dave Ramsey or Dave Ramsey's financial plan or his books, his first book that I would suggest reading is The Total Money Makeover. And we are going to give a copy away, as we talked about in the last video that I surprised Amber with. Likes, comments, and shares of these videos will put you all in a drawing and give away a copy of The Total Money Makeover. So number one, we're going to talk a little bit about our budget.
Well, first of all, when we started, thankfully, the first step is to have an emergency fund. And,
yep.
It's to start off by having $1,000 set aside. So if you have an emergency pop up, that you're not, left with nothing to take care of it. So
yeah, I think something. Sorry to interrupt. Something to think about is that when you start, first off, putting your priorities in order, and this is a priority, is finances. The Bible talks a lot about being responsible, being obedient to the things that God gives you, and to be, to use those as the blessings. And I think if the minute you start being responsible with some of these areas of your life, whether it's relational, financial, whatever it is that Satan likes to come and attack, and we're not going to get into that in this video, but it's true. And so to have these steps in order and to follow these steps in order is important because of some of these Murphy's law, as Dave Ramsey says, likes to come in and move in and brings, what does he say, his cousin stupid and something, I don't know. But the point is, if you don't have that basis of an emergency fund, and it's not fully funding your emergency fund, as we'll get into in a few more steps, it's just to get $1,000. So first step is just save $1,000. Number one, and we'll talk right now a little bit about the budget, okay? But number one, the first step is to save that $1,000. And then in order to do that and to figure out where your $1,000 is going to start coming from, you're going to have to get on a budget. Sit down between you and your spouse and put all your money together into one account if you don't already. Amber and I have always had our money pretty much since we've been married as ours, not hers and mine. But it's important. This will really only work if you're doing it together. And so having one budget, one bank account, whatever, to use this money to budget with. And so to be on the same page and to have all this in the same, agreement is what I'm looking for. So go ahead and talk a little bit about the budget.
So when we sat down and we worked out our budget, we had listed out all of the credit cards that we had, as well as groceries, utility bills, whatever it may be, doctor bills. Everything was listed out. And then we separated it by paycheck because Tony gets paid twice a month. So it just trying to make it equal out of the two different paychecks. We had a list for the first paycheck of the month and then a list for the second paycheck of the month. And then we went from there, starting with the smallest credit card, the smallest debt that we owed, which was a credit card for us that had about $300 on it. And we paid that off right away, plus some on the second one.
And it felt good.
It was amazing.
Just to say, hey,
that small little thing.
I mean, we've held on to that little balance of $300 and paid minimums because we couldn't afford anything else. We're paying minimums on it, and it's like $300. We just paid it off. Okay, great. That was easy. That was good. And
we started right after tax returns too, so we did have something to pay it off. But that really was a huge boost for us to have that money to pay it off and get moving, and the debt snowball to get that going. So
yeah. So I mean, like Amber kind of alluded to, I'm a computer guy, and Amber will write it down on a sheet of paper. But we're not going to obviously get into it. But we labeled paycheck 1 and paycheck 2. and here's our dollar amounts and the total that it will take to pay these debts. And we're talking grocery, gas, restaurant fund, because we, as a family, we have 4 kids. Not that it's an excuse, but we really felt the need to be able to still have that pizza night once a month. And so, we put in $50 in a restaurant fund once a month. $50, not much, right?
Not much.
But you're going to have to cut back if you want to get anywhere. And so we have insurance, we have tithing, our taxes, our house taxes, consumers, phone, internet, Christmas fund. We have a real small Christmas fund that we will start saving for. What else do we have in here? I can't read it through the back. Life insurance, medical bills that we had that we've had to budget for, and then we have a blank one at the bottom that says loan, okay, or basically debt snowball. And so after listing all of these out, anything extra that week or that in that 2-week time frame, this is very hard on Amber because she likes to have a little bit of a comfort zone when it comes to finances because we've never had a comfort zone, okay?
Like a cushion.
She likes to have a couple dollars sitting there in the bank just in case something comes up. Like we've been used to going to the grocery store and for the 3rd time that week because we wanted to make the next cooking show's recipe. Well, I did. I like doing that. And I've always run up our grocery bill because it's like, let's make one more trip to the grocery store to get these 3 more items. And then we end up spending $60-$70 while we're there. And so she likes to have that cushion for me, okay? And for herself, her mindset. And so having no cushion was hard. It was living on a $0 budget. And if for those that don't know what that is here's all your items that you need to pay for that 2 weeks. Anything above and beyond got put onto your debt, okay? So for us, it was hard for the first few months to really live on a $0 budget. I think we had like $100 in there just in case. So we really had to stretch ourselves out. And today, we realize that we can still do that. We can have a $0 budget, have pretty much no money in the bank, but all of our expenses are paid for. And we're paying $1,500 that week or that 2 weeks on credit cards. And that's how you pay things off. You get that momentum. And you have to trust that we have that $1,000 just in case sitting in our bank account as an emergency fund if something came up. And so we had to trust in that. We had to trust in the process. And so I guess the debt snowball was key for us. We had to list all of our debts out. Mathematically, it doesn't make sense because Dave Ramsey suggests that you put it out as far as the smallest debt and then up and you pay them off to the largest debt. So that mathematically, that's not right. But if this was math and we were doing it mathematically, we wouldn't be in debt. And so mindset is to not worry about interest rates and percentages and all this stuff. Just start making the momentum happen. Pay them off, pay them off, pay them off. And as you go and go and go and you start paying off more and more and more, it's such an encouragement. I look forward to every other Wednesday to sit down with Amber. That's what we do. We sit down and we go, what do we got budgeted for this paycheck? And how much is my paycheck? Because I'm hourly. And then how much are we going to pay off on this loan? And where are we? What do we have left? Can we squeeze a few more dollars out of this? And and so it becomes such an excitement to pay these things off. And so that's baby step 2 is to list all your debts, smallest to largest, in the debt snowball. And how a snowball works, and I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody here that might still be confused, is once you pay that first one off, let's say your minimum payment was $30 a month, and you've paid that first debt off, you roll that $30 a month into the next payment. So your next payment might be $50 a month. And so now you have 50 plus 30, and so you roll those two together and you start making those payments. And then you attack it with everything above and beyond and that you have available to that debt, and you start really getting some traction. So as you get through your debt snowball, our last payment technically was close to $1,000 a month. That was minimums, and that was not including any extra that we could afford in our budget that week or that 2 weeks time frame to pay off extra. So we're now sitting where we are paying off 15. Last month was with working a little extra was $3,000 to $3,500. In the last 2 months, we paid $5,000 off in our debt snowball, which is exciting. Yeah. So the other things we want to touch on is first off having the intensity, being on the same page, having a budget, getting on the debt snowball, and then finding some things around your house you can sell. We had to sell. We didn't have to. We made the choice to sell.
Sold our camper, which we loved. That was a painful choice, but it was a necessary choice. We sold the camper. We sold our plow truck. Other miscellaneous stuff, around the house that we could find. We were just doing whatever we could, because any extra income went on the debt snowball, and it was that much more we could get ahead, to keep going and keep that momentum up. So
that's some of the steps that we needed to start in our life, which we'd have, and that's why we want to share it with others. We want to really encourage you to look at your finances, look at your debts. So many people nowadays think student loans are just acceptable. That car payments are acceptable to go out and lease and finance a car, and I've had to change my mindset to say no debt is acceptable as far as those go, and I think to really look at your finances, we want to encourage you. Amber and I are willing to come to your house and to sit in front of you and go through this hard stuff and to encourage you and maybe even hold you accountable to going out and having the shopping sprees that you have, maybe the coffees every day. We've had to make our own coffees every day and pack our own lunches while I go to work, and for the kids when they're at basketball games. We've had to make choices that are just smart. And as soon as you're out of debt, you'll find that freedom is we can give more, we can live more, we can enjoy more. We can enjoy time that we don't even have to. I guess it's just a freedom that you feel.
Absolutely.
So that's video 2, is just the steps, a little more in detail of what Amber and I have taken, what we want to encourage others to take, and to literally sit with you and help you. And I know God's going to give us those couples to come alongside. We've been praying about it, and I think that this is just one more step that I think we needed to take in order to share our story, to be vulnerable, I guess more transparent, because it's not easy to be doing this with our finances. Others can judge you and that sort of thing, but we don't want to judge you, and we want to come alongside you. So I encourage you to do something about it today. Sit down with your husband, wife, and make some plans. And then give us a call, instant message us. Do what you got to do, but we're here to help, and we want to be on this journey with you. So again, I'm going to say it again, comment, like, and then guess what? We're going to give away a book, a Dave Ramsey book called The Total Money Makeover. So we encourage you. We'll maybe see you in step 3 of our video. We'll see. Thanks.